What if everything you thought you knew about someone you trusted was a lie? What if the person claiming to have your back never actually did? Robin Brown just admitted she won't have Mary's back anymore, but the shocking truth is she never did. In 15 years, every act, every word, every promise was a performance, a manipulation, a calculated move to benefit herself. And now the mask is off and the real story comes to light. Stay with me because we're about to uncover every betrayal, every secret, and every moment that proves Mary was never truly supported. And what Robin reveals will shock you. Robin Brown just said something that revealed more about her than she could have ever intended, because in one simple phrase, she admitted a truth that no one had put into words before. She said that she would no longer have Mary's back. And those words resonate like a hammer striking a fragile wall because they expose a history of pretense of loyalty, a performance of friendship, and a masquerade of support that was never genuine. And the question everyone has been asking for years suddenly finds its answer when you consider that in 15 years of interaction between Robin and Mary, there was never a single moment when Robin truly prioritized Mary's needs or defended Mary in any meaningful way. There was never a time when Robin put Mary's well-being above her own comfort, above her own interests, or above her own alignment with Cody. The patterns of manipulation and self-interest are so deeply embedded that every single action Robin took can be traced back to the principle of personal gain and the accumulation of advantage at Mary's expense. And when Robin says she won't have Mary's back anymore, the shock of it comes not from the act of withdrawal, but from the admission that the support she claimed to provide never existed. And for 15 years, Mary has been operating under the illusion that she had an ally, a sister, a friend, someone who would protect her interests. And yet, the reality was a continuous series of betrayals, starting with financial exploitation, taking advantage of Mary's house equity, which should have been sacred, and turning it into a tool to enrich herself and the mansion she now lives in. And every time Mary sought connection, Robin was distant. Every time Mary sought validation, Robin redirected attention toward herself. Every time Mary tried to assert her needs, Robin reframed them as inconveniences, and not a single instance of Robin acting in a supportive or protective manner exists to challenge this narrative. And the implication of her words is shocking, because anyone who listens closely can recognize the subtle but unmistakable admission that she has only ever looked out for Robin Brown, and occasionally for Cody when his interests aligned with hers. But Mary was never the beneficiary of that care or concern. And the examples of this pattern are everywhere, from the house equity disputes to the catfishing situation to the Cody protocols designed not to protect Mary, but to control her access to her husband and to isolate her from family and community, and to maintain Robin's monopoly over Cody's attention and affection. And every claim Robin makes about still looking out for Mary falls apart when compared to the reality of her actions, because you cannot look out for someone while actively contributing to their suffering, while participating in schemes that diminish their financial security, while turning a blind eye to emotional abandonment, while simultaneously benefiting from it all. And yet she presents a narrative of concern, of loyalty, of protection that is contradicted by a trail of evidence too long to ignore. And every single viewer watching begins to sense that this is more than a simple feud, more than a family drama, more than reality television conflict. It is a case study in manipulation, in narcissistic behavior, in the performance of care without ever intending to act in accordance with it. And the suspense comes from the realization that every time Robin spoke about Mary, she rewrote history. Every time she referenced her concern, she disguised self-interest as care care. Every time she claimed loyalty, she weaponized it as a tool of control. And yet, she does this all while presenting the appearance of being the supportive wife, the good sister, the friend. And the revelation of that duplicity is only fully visible when you examine the specific moments, the decisions, the conversations, and the silent exclusions. Because the real story is written not in what Robin says, but in what she does, in the absence of transparency, in the absence of accountability, and in the strategic manipulation of the narrative. And when you see it, you cannot help but be drawn into the shock of recognizing how someone can maintain the illusion of care for years while systematically undermining the person they claim to support. And the tension escalates when we consider the impact of these actions on Mary, because 15 years of having her back faked her out, kept her hoping, kept her compliant, kept her trapped in a cycle of expectation and disappointment. And Robin, now revealing that she never had Mary's back, not only validates all of Mary's silent suffering, but reframes the story for viewers who may have been wondering why Mary seemed to shoulder so much of the family dysfunction alone. And the suspense deepens when you realize that the so-called friendship was never a relationship. It was a strategic arrangement. It was a carefully maintained performance designed to extract benefits while suppressing Mary. And now, with Robin openly admitting she won't have Mary's back anymore, the revelation lands like a bomb because it uncovers everything that was hidden behind polite smiles and scripted scenes. And now the audience cannot look away because they see the entire dynamic exposed, and the consequences ripple through the story in every instance of financial gain, personal comfort, emotional control, and manipulation of the narrative. Perception, and yet the loop of suspense continues because each revelation leads to another question. What will Mary do? How will the family respond? How will Robin maintain her image now that the mask has slipped? How will viewers react to the clarity that finally emerged after years of pretense? And the story is not just about betrayal, but about the subtle ways someone can perform loyalty while systematically denying support. And the suspense is maintained because each viewer has to reconcile the shocking reality with what they believed about Robin. And the drama continues to escalate as we examine every interaction, from the My Sister Wives closet business decisions, to the wedding dress shopping, to the honeymoon periods, to the ongoing exclusion during COVID, and the meticulous evidence that every choice favored Robin and undermined Mary, creating an unbroken chain of selfishness that is only now fully revealed. And the loop of engagement keeps viewers hooked because they want to see what the next betrayal was, how Robin justified it, what excuse she offered, and how she managed to maintain the illusion of support while simultaneously orchestrating Mary's challenges. And it becomes a story not just of one woman against another, but a study of psychological manipulation, of performative care, and of the brutal honesty of what happens when someone decides they no longer need to pretend. And as the viewer sits on the edge of their seat, they cannot stop watching because every detail compounds the shock. Every piece of evidence reinforces the conclusion that Mary was never truly supported, that Robin never had her back, and that the pretense of care was just that, a pretense. And the loop keeps drawing the audience deeper into the story because each shocking revelation leads to another question. Each betrayal invites another observation. Each denial of support triggers another example of manipulation. And yet the story is also cathartic because in exposing Robin, the truth about her actions validates Mary's experience and reassures viewers that recognizing manipulation and false support is possible. And the tension is sustained because every time Robin claims she was looking out for Mary, the viewer knows she was not. And that knowledge keeps them engaged throughout the story because they want to understand how one person could maintain such an intricate web of illusion for so long. And the dramatic arc is constructed to never let the audience stop watching because every example builds on the last. The suspense escalates. The loop of betrayal and false loyalty continues to hold attention. And the shocking revelation of Robin's statement is the catalyst for the entire discussion. It is the turning point where the facade collapses and the truth is unavoidable. And the narrative forces viewers to confront the uncomfortable reality that some relationships are performative, some friendships are transactional, and some loyalty is only ever a performance. And as the script continues, it loops back to reinforce these points with further examples of financial manipulation, exclusion from decision-making, control of narratives, and the ongoing exploitation of trust that was never earned. And every segment creates anticipation for the next revelation, creating a suspenseful, continuous flow that prevents skipping or disengagement. And the dramatic tension is carefully maintained by revealing one shocking fact after another, one inconsistency after another, and one betrayal after another, in a cascading effect that ensures viewers are compelled to watch to the end. The unfolding reality of Robin Brown's admission that she will no longer have Mary's back is more than a statement. It is an unmasking. It is a dramatic exposure of the nature of their relationship and the dynamics that have dominated the family for 15 years. And the drama escalates when you consider that this statement alone forces viewers to reevaluate every interaction, every conversation, every decision, every public and private moment. And the suspense is built from the very first words, because immediately the audience recognizes that something profound is being revealed that was always present yet never spoken. And the tension holds because it asks the viewer to question the authenticity of past events and to scrutinize the intentions behind Robin's every action, from financial dealings to household arrangements, from marital favoritism to social positioning, from the catfishing situation to the My Sister Wives closet venture. And every time the narrative loops back, it reinforces the reality that Robin's actions have been consistently self-serving, consistently manipulative, and consistently devoid of genuine concern for Mary. And the audience is drawn into a web of suspense because the story is presented not as a simple betrayal, but as a multi-layered psychological performance with shocking revelations appearing in sequence. From the legal wife situation where Robin took advantage of the structural vulnerability created by Cody and Mary's divorce to assert dominance and extract benefits, to the bedroom arrangement in Las Vegas where she occupied the master suite, demonstrating territorial control over a space rightfully belonging to Mary, to the wedding dress shopping episode where she framed the celebration as about Cody's romantic fulfillment, subtly undermining Mary and the other wives, to the honeymoon period where she monopolized Cody's attention, prioritizing personal satisfaction over the emotional needs of the other wives and children, to the intimacy favoritism and sexual abandonment dynamics where she benefited from Mary's deprivation, the catfishing manipulation that kept Mary trapped in a state of false hope, and the SOI rules that effectively isolated Mary while allowing Robin unmonitored access to Cody, creating a climate of control disguised as concern. And each revelation builds upon the last, creating a suspenseful loop that keeps the viewer engaged because the story continuously challenges prior assumptions and reframes the narrative from the perspective of documented actions rather than claimed intentions. And as viewers process the sequence of manipulations, financial exploitation, emotional control, and performative care, they are compelled to continue watching because each example reinforces the central truth that Mary never had Mary's back. And the drama maintains its momentum because every story element loops back to the evidence, establishing a consistent pattern of self-interest that cannot be reconciled with her claims of concern and loyalty. And the engagement is sustained because viewers are constantly prompted to reconsider past events with this new lens, noticing small details and inconsistencies they had previously overlooked, and recognizing the psychological strategies employed to maintain a facade while simultaneously undermining Mary. and the suspense escalates as the narrative progresses to the public statements Robin made, where she subtly blamed Mary for being difficult and ungrateful and framed the departure as betrayal rather than acknowledging her own role in fostering dysfunction and isolation. And the audience cannot stop, because the revelation of each instance of performative friendship coupled with strategic manipulation creates a loop of anticipation for the next shocking disclosure. And the pattern is so consistent, so well documented, and so psychologically intricate that viewers remain glued to the story from start to finish, because every action has consequences, every omission carries weight, every false claim invites scrutiny, and every revealed intention builds dramatic tension. And the story sustains itself because each layer of evidence loops back, reinforcing the central thesis that Mary was never truly supported, that Robin's loyalty was conditional, that her friendship was performative, and that entire relationship was structured around Robin's gain. And the suspense is further compounded by the subtle psychological insights offered throughout the story, inviting viewers to recognize similar patterns in their own lives and to understand the mechanisms of manipulation and false loyalty. And as the narrative unfolds, the shock of Robin's statement continues to resonate because it crystallizes a truth long suspected by those watching. And the dramatic arc is sustained by alternating between exposition of evidence, analysis of behavior, and a reflection on the broader consequences for Mary. And the audience is engaged continuously because the story creates tension, anticipation, revelation, and validation in a continuous loop that ensures there is no opportunity to disengage, because the viewer is compelled to see how each piece of evidence fits into the larger picture of betrayal, performative care, and self-serving manipulation. And as the story progresses, the loop of suspense and revelation continues with financial exploitation, isolation from family and social networks, emotional manipulation, exploitation of vulnerability, and consistent self-serving behavior, juxtaposed against claims of concern, loyalty, and support. And each example reinforces the reality that Robin was never acting in Mary's best interest. And the narrative keeps looping back to the central revelation that Robin never had Mary's back. And the audience is kept in a state of dramatic tension because every example and every analysis invites further questions about the nature of friendship, the authenticity of loyalty, the boundaries of self-interest, and the consequences of performative support. And the viewer is compelled to continue watching to fully understand the complexity of the manipulations, the depth of betrayal, and the final vindication of Mary, who has always acted in self-preservation and self-respect while navigating a system that consistently worked against her. And the suspense is maintained to the very end because each revelation is designed to loop back into the next, creating a continuous chain of intrigue, shock, suspense, and dramatic tension that keeps the viewer engaged without pause, from the first shocking statement to the final confirmation of the truth. Robin Brown's words finally reveal the truth she never intended to admit, that she never truly had Mary's back. For 15 years, every claim of loyalty and support was a performance. Mary chose herself over pretense and manipulation, and now she's free, while Robin remains trapped in her own self-interest. This is a story of betrayal, exposure, and empowerment, a lesson that real support is shown through actions, not words. And sometimes the absence of a fake friend is the greatest gift you can receive.